So, as part of the military, in what capacity did you serve your country, and what title did you have when you served?
I served during the Vietnam conflict. I ended up when I ETS, which means I got out. I was at Spec 4 in E4. I served I was at Fort Bragg, then I was at Fort Benjamin Harrison, then I got transferred to, original orders came down for Vietnam and got changed and because they needed my MOS, which is my military school, my military occupation, excuse me, for a place called Sanahi in Thailand. And so that's where I spent most of my time, a little over a year, in Sanahi, Thailand, and a place called Samisan.
Okay.
We were a support group for the Air Force Base at Utapao. These are all names which are familiar to the Thai people, not familiar to you. So anyway, it was an interesting time.
Okay. What were your primary responsibilities while you were there?
When I was there, computers back then were about the size of cars.
Okay. Wow.
They were that big. Yes, they were. And I was in charge of the tape library. I had a programming and computer skills, but they needed someone to handle the tape library. The library, as of the books here and everything, had that many. There were walls with just tapes, great big tapes. That's where all the information was kept. And so I was in charge of the tape library. I would get tapes and have to file them away, and then I would also have a list of tapes that they needed to run programs and stuff off of.
So they were like really important, like tapes.
Right.
You had to keep.
Oh yeah. And then we had a warrant officer who was in charge of our section, and he called me in to do something different because I had a clearance. I could get a top secret clearance. Not all the guys could get that. I didn't have a track record as far as criminal history. Didn't even have a ticket, believe it or not.
Oh wow.
And he was amazed. And I did microfilm. The microfilm that would come in from Vietnam and from other places that were high secrecy, and they taught me how to exchange the microfilm, put it in special containers, and go. I've never saw. It was a pitch black room. You had to learn how to do it without any light.
Like in the dark? Wow.
Always pitch black. Yep.
Wow.
And so, if you're asking me what was on it, I have no idea.
No idea.
No idea.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So why did you decide to join, or were you drafted?
I was drafted.
You were drafted?
I came home one day from work. It was a Saturday morning, and my mom was sitting at the kitchen table, and I worked night work, and the mailman came early, and she says, "You got something here," and it was my draft notice, and I was drafted. Well, after I got in, they realized I was working in computers and stuff, and they asked me to enlist for another year so they could train me the way they wanted me to be into that field. So I did.
Okay, so you did that.
Still got sent overseas, so it wasn't like, you know.
Right. So
now I wasn't never trying to get at that, but it was like,
How old were you when it happened?
Wow, that's a good one. 19.
19.
Yep.
Wow.
19, just got out of high school.
That's just like a little older than me.
Yep.
Wow. And then how long did you stay?
I got an early out because of the time I spent over there. They were doing that then when you spent into it was an area. Thailand, of course, was in Southeast Asia. It was about a country away from Vietnam. And so I was able to get an early out when I got discharged.
Okay.
I came back. I was supposed to go to Oakland. The warrant officer, who was my warrant officer, called me in and said, "Hey, how would you like to?" He said, "You ever heard of a place called Edgewood Arsenal?" I said, "Yeah, it's literally about 6 miles away from my house." Where I live.
Really?
And my orders came down for Oakland. I was going to go to Oakland, California. And he says, "Maybe you want to go there." I said, "No, I don't." And so I went up, and they got the orders transferred, and I spent the last 6 months of my military career in Edgewood Arsenal.
Okay, so closer to home.
Yep.
Gotcha. And then, I don't know if you have one, but did you have like a favorite thing about what you did?
It's all interesting. I mean, as most guys that we're in, and I could tell a lot of stories of things that happened. and different. It was a great experience. In all honesty, I to sit back and look at it and say I wish I'd never done it, and that would be a lie. I love it. The Lord leads you into certain areas for certain reasons, and that was an area that I never would have chose that it was in, and yeah, I enjoyed it. I really did. I enjoyed all the experiences and everything, and I don't think I would ever say there was anything bad about it, so I would look at it all as being a good, productive time. Yes.
Okay. Did you have like a certain uniform you had to wear?
Yeah, we had fatigues.
Okay.
Which we never wear dress stuff because when you're in a combat zone, which we were,
Okay.
and when you're in a combat zone such as that, you didn't wear stuff to stand out.
What was it like? Was it like heavy? Was it?
No, you were what they call jungle fatigues then.
Okay.
I don't know what they have today, but
Okay.
these were jungle fatigues. They were a lightweight,
Okay.
and as they are today, I think they're coming out with better stuff today, but this is back in the late 60s, early 70s. So.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. And then, if you could tell a high school student one thing about your experience or your advice about committing to the service, what would that be?
Well, today you don't have. I didn't have a choice. It's not like I walked out and said, "Sign me up." It's not a bad life, but you have to want to do it, as anything in life. It's like people who want to go on the mission field, as far as missionaries go. It's something that they choose to do. I would recommend highly that if you have that urge to do it, it's a very good life, very good life for those. But I mean, that's why people choose to be policemen or nurses or whatever. They have the desire to do it. So I wouldn't go in just because I want to escape from something. I think that's a bad thing to go in anywhere. But if you think you would enjoy that and love it, do it.
Right. And then, what was the hardest part about the whole experience you had, if you could choose something?
It's probably the first time for many of us, not counting a college thing, that you're away from home, away from everything that you love and what you're accustomed to. And again, you're thrown into a different area where, I had no problem taking orders. There was a lot of guys that came in that had a problem with that.
Oh yeah.
They had a problem. They had a problem, and they had a hard time. But they learned real quick to take orders. I didn't have a hard time with it because I came from a disciplinarian father, and I learned how to take orders or else. So when I came in and they were giving me instruction, I had no problem with it, and so I went right with it. But hardest time probably is being away from your family, being away from people that you love and that you've been around all your life for 19 years.
Yeah.
So, and of course that's where all my girlfriends were, if you will, and all the guys I hung out with. So yeah, that was the hardest part.
Gotcha. And that kind of leads me to like my next question. How did your family feel when they heard you were going to be drafted? Like, what was that kind of like for them?
My mother was a little sad, and I say sad, that doesn't mean she was worryful. She probably was, but she never told me.
Right.
My father served in World War II.
Okay.
And so he didn't have a problem at all with me going in. I didn't have a problem with going in and serving my country. Nobody wants their son and or daughter, as it is today, to die, and especially in combat or in any other way. But it's just one of those things that we came to talk. That was our duty. That was my duty. I never looked at it as being a bad thing. I never hated my country, loved my country. And I looked at it as my duty, as my job. And I grew up in a time in the 60s when it was a huge thing, especially for young people. The hatred that went into the service, went into anybody even wearing a uniform. Today we honor guys coming back from Afghanistan. It wasn't that way then. And they try to portray it in movies, and I'm telling you, it's not exaggerations what you say. You be in an airport and there were people that literally thought you were disgusting because you had that uniform on and you were a soldier. So, yeah, it was a different time.
Yeah. So when you came home, were you treated Did you ever have like an interaction?
Well, I didn't
with
have
them?
I didn't have any interaction in the airport or stuff like that.
Okay.
You might get looks.
Right.
There were, what was nice is that there were some Christian groups that were out there, and they would have ladies and or men meet you at the airport and be shaking hands with the soldiers that came in to welcome them back and give them areas of where they could go if they were brand new. Of course, I come in at Friendship Airport, which is now our airport down there,
Okay.
and I just got off of my dad and my brother were there to meet me. So
Okay.
yeah, it was not a big deal. I wasn't surrounded with a lot of that, and of course, I didn't wear my uniform.
Right.
Once I got off the base, I was stationed at home, so I didn't wear it. So
So you have all that.
yeah.
Was there any did you have like a most memorable experience? Anything like particularly funny or like something that really sticks out in your mind that happened
That I
while
can
you were
repeat,
there?
right?
That you can repeat, yeah.
There's a lot of stories, a lot of things that really happened, and of course everybody's got their war stories. We were not in a combat zone, but we were in an army base that was a support group again for the Air Force base, so that if there was any, at the time it was after Tet Offensive, and at the time, if you know anything about it, you had Vietnam, you had Laos, and you had Thailand, you had of course Cambodia was down there. They were sending army down through Laos and Cambodia to get into the various areas of Vietnam, South Vietnam. But they were also, there would be raids and skirmishes where they would come over the border into Thailand and attack. And especially since the Air Force base was there, they were running missions to Vietnam, dropping bombs, all that kind of stuff. And they wanted to, mess that up any way they could. And so we would there, and if we would get what they call a red alert, we'd have to get up no matter what time, man your weapons, and then get out and stand a post to guard the Air Force base.
Wow.
And take care of anything. That happened actually twice. Considering I was there for a year, that's not bad.
Okay.
So, and we also was another outpost that was farther away that was supposed to pick that up before they got to us. So that was pretty good that we only had to do that twice because again, your basic military job is to have a gun and take care of the enemy. Yep.
So what was like the training like for that? Did you have like, because I knew you
I
were
didn't have
drafted.
to, I was at Fort Bragg for training, and they had a special training that you went to. If your orders came down for Nam, you did a special Vietnam training. So I'm putting English here.
Right.
That you would have to go on. They sent. I was just briefed on the things us guys that were going to go because we weren't going to Nam. We were going to Thailand. So they spent that time training those guys. They gave us some brief instructions and everything, and we had one short where we did the Vietnam Trail and did this thing where they aligned us on what to expect if we ever had to get out into the jungle and do stuff.
Okay.
But no, my training was very, very, it was more informational than training, but because I wasn't going to Vietnam.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
Hmm?
And then while you were there, did you make any like friends while you're there? Like, do you still have any connections with people that were there?
No, but that's me.
That's you.
That's me.
Okay.
There's a lot of guys that still keep in touch and everything. I don't even go to my high school reunions.
Okay.
It's been a long time, believe me.
Right.
67. That's a long time. But I don't have that desire. My whole desire is family, and if I get a time or a weekend to go somewhere, it's going to be my wife and kids and grandkids and do that kind of stuff. So that's just me. But there are guys that do keep in touch, and I have gotten letters in the mail that said the meeting of this is going on. You know, like you would a high school reunion type of thing. But in all honesty, it just it's never really been a desire for me to do that.
Okay.
But there are guys that do it, so, and it's pretty nice if they want to.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you for all your service and
enjoyed
everything. So.
And I hope this helps you.
It does. Thank you.